A lot of people think that dry hair means that they need more product, but dry hair and dehydrated hair are not the same thing. And treating your hair for the wrong thing is the exact reason that no matter what you put on your hair, it is still dry. Today we're breaking down the science of hair moisture and why water does not stay in the hair the way that people are expecting or teaching you on social media. Today we're going to talk about what actually helps, including specific herbs shown in studies to support hydration, scalp health, and structural resilience of the human hair shaft.
Don't take it personal, that's just Cinder's way. She speak with love, but don't sugarcoat.
So when people say dry hair, they describe things like rough filling hair, a rough texture, tangling, dull or brittle hair with moisture that never lasts, and so much breakage even after the most expensive product that promises you that it'll repair your hair and protect it from breakage. This is actually a mix of internal dryness and dehydration. Both solutions to both individual problems are going to be different. So hair is a keratin fiber, not a living tissue like your skin. Your hair doesn't drink water. It absorbs and releases water through this process. Researchers have shown that the different changes in the levels of moisture are directly related to the changes in the cuticle layer of the hair shaft, meaning sometimes people who struggle with retaining moisture or who struggle with dry hair, it is simply because you have a damaged follicle or a damaged cuticle. One of the main groups of women that struggle with this, with moisture and with having a damaged hair cuticle, are women who decide to wet their hair on a regular basis or who always walk around with the water bottle spritzed in their hair. What you are seeing right now is what hair looks like on a microscopic level under weathering when you are applying water to you, to the naked eye. It just looks like you're spraying water on your hair, but in reality this is what's actually happening. And over time the different layers of the hair's cuticle begin to break off and weather away, and before you know it, the cortex of the hair shaft is exposed, and then slowly but surely the hair shaft gets weaker and weaker before the ends snap and break, and then here you have it, hair that can't retain length. It's actually really simplistic, but whenever I first presented it to you, I guess maybe it was hard for you to see in your mind's eye to prevent it ahead of time, but now we have approached this place and this is where everybody is. This is what's been happening to you, and this is what is happening to you on a microscopic level if you are a person who is constantly wetting your hair on a daily basis. Hair can feel extremely soft on the surface but be really dehydrated on the inside. Your hair will lose hydration quickly because of the changes and the patterns of the movement of the hair shaft due to the changes in the cuticle. That could be because of tight braids, having too many products layered on the hair, always having your hair wet. This is going to change the rate in which the cortex of the hair is able to hold on to all of the properties that it needs. Remember, everything that is of value lives within the cortex. The cuticle is the protector, and all you're doing by putting water on your hair every day is slowly eroding the cuticle, the same way you would be slowly eroding this wall behind me if I sprayed it with water every day like you spray your hair. This is why people say things like, my hair felt so moisturized and it was all silky and smooth, and then in a couple of hours it was stiff again. This is why. So dry hair normally refers to the lack of surface lubrication, right? So your hair feeling slippery or shiny on the outside, that's what we're talking about. High friction between strands of a dry cuticle or a damaged or lifted cuticle, one that's not lifted naturally. Like, I have naturally high porosity hair, which means my cuticle is naturally lifted, but girl, my hair is not dry. You have a rough texture that tangles easily, and a really dull hair surface if you have dry hair. Dry hair feels dry because there's not enough slip, not because it's actually dry. Remember, dryness, we're talking about surface level. Now when we're talking about dehydrated dehydrated here, we're talking about water that does not stay within the fiber of the hair shaft the way that it's supposed to. Because remember, your hair only absorbs water from two ways: through the water that you drink or from the water that's absorbed from the environment. So if your hair is dehydrated, right, the cuticles are not able to hold on to any of the water whatsoever. Your hair may absorb water from the environment, but there is something going on with your scalp's microbiome and with the state of your hair's follicle, the state of your hair shaft, that is preventing it from holding on to moisture. We talked about it in a previous video, but a lot of you guys don't know that the same exact fungi that causes wingworm also lives in the human hair shaft. And a lot of black women do not know that you do not have to have a patch in the middle of your head to have wingworm. You don't. Wingworm can actually live within the hair shaft, and it actually eats away at the hair's fiber. That's where a lot of breakage comes from in women, but they don't even realize it. You think that by not shampooing your hair and adding a bunch of oils and butters that you are somehow protecting your hair, where in reality all you're doing is feeding the scalp's microbiome and something that could be living in your hair, eating away at the hair's follicle internally. But I digress. So when we're talking about dehydrated hair, because nothing stays within the cortex, it loses moisture way quicker than everything else. Feels really stiff after you use hair products. Hair products make it way worse, not better. This is why certain people are not good judges of certain products, because if your hair is already damaged, you adding a hair product to it isn't gonna make it better. It may actually make it feel worse. So a lot of products that y'all try in the past when your hair was dusty, you might want to spend the block on, because it was you, not the product. You'll also notice that your hair reacts to humidity changes. Don't get upset with me, but if you're a person who straightens their hair and then the second you go outside it reverts back, a lot of times it wasn't that you did something wrong. A lot of times you have a hair shaft disorder, or your cuticle is somehow imbalanced and it's not allowing moisture, it's not allowing the hydration to stay in like it's supposed to. So there is the imbalance. Your hair will revert back very quickly. It's a fact. There are so many women who notice how prior to the challenge their hair used to revert back a lot faster than it would, but once the cuticle is healed, or once the cuticle is repaired and the balance is set and reset, then the hair is able to deal with humidity changes way better, right? I live in Nevada right now, but I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, where there's nothing but humidity, and we only wore our hair in wraps in high school, and our hair never reverted back unless the person at the shop just didn't know what they was doing. So that's something, a really big sign. It's the main reason why after you, let's say you are leaving Team Natural and you decide that you want to start straightening your hair or anything, the first thing that most people want to do is go to a flat iron. And I always tell people, no, don't go to a flat iron first. Do a roller set or something like that, because there is a possibility that you can have a damaged cuticle. And when you go in to see a cosmetologist, right, and let's say it's their first time seeing you, they don't know your patterns, they don't know your routines and the things that you've done, and then you sit in the chair and they do a real good job on your hair, but then you find that your hair reverts back, and then you want to get online and write reviews where in reality they did nothing wrong. You had a hair shaft disorder that there's no way that a cosmetologist is going to be able to see that. But you had a hair shaft disorder, and your hair has a problem with humidity. So as soon as you go outside, your hair is going to revert back. That's not an issue of the cosmetologist. The issue the cosmetologist has is the cosmetologist didn't have the conversation beforehand. You need to talk about it first. Video coming soon. most people with dehydrated hair, your hair goes between feeling really, really bouncy and silky and shiny to really, really dry and brittle and stiff and crunchy within hours. Hair science has showed us that dehydrated hair has a fluctuating hair passage, has an altered water passage, and the cuticle structure is a little altered. So this is going to directly affect the way that water is absorbed or released. This is so important. So ends show it first because it's the oldest part of the hair, the most exposed and the most weathered. Studies have shown that cuticle wear and tear and physical damage, it always shows up on the ends first. Even the balance of moisture, all of the things ends first. This is why the ends dry out first. This is why they feel stiff first and the fastest. Breakage appears at the ends first, and your length retention, your ends are affected long before your roots show any damage. So this is why we say the ends are the first sign. By the time you see the thinning and the balding, you've almost reached the point of no return. My channel for years has been about preventing you from getting to the follicle problem, because the scalp and the hair shaft are two completely different things. I'm a Black woman as well, and hair growth has never been our issue. Our issue has always been length retention, always. Moisture isn't just about what you apply, it's about the condition of your hair's it's about the condition of the cuticle, tension and mechanical stress, frequency of high tension styles, frequency of handling or wetting, scalp hydration and blood flow, along with different environmental factors. Repeated low-level stress and friction or weathering can cause slow micro rips and tears within the hair's cuticle, which eventually leads to the cuticle being stripped away and the cortex of the hair shaft being completely exposed. So let's get into some herbs that help us to get through this process. Now, herbs are not like a sprinkle magic cure, even though sometimes they can be. Today we're going to use them to support circulation, cuticle protection, anti-inflammatory balance, antioxidant defense, and moisture pathway balance. Ooh, it's my favorite. Marshmallow root, which is one of the leading ingredients in Simple Satin, my oil detangler. And Simple Satin is a product that you can use in very, very small amounts, the way you would use the oil, let's say, on the ends for your braids. But that's it. Don't be oiling and greasing your scalp with my stuff. To increase surface lubrication as you're combing, brushing, and detangling your hair. Hibiscus. Hibiscus is another one that is within Simple Satin. Hibiscus has natural acids and antioxidants. It supports moisture retention, and for centuries, its key constituents, not the actual tea brewed in your plant on the stove. Little red juice, not like that. It was used to improve hair texture that's been damaged by some imbalance within the bonds, and it reduces dryness. Next up is nettle. Nettle has amazing anti-inflammatory and circulatory support, and this improves the scalp's environment. Is this a hair growth product? No. But is this a product that helps you to balance out the scalp's microbiome and microflora before you move on with your styling processes? Even though it's used topically, isn't going to go deep within the hair follicle or within the gut, so it'll change anything within the body. That is something that is done topically, but have no fear, the apothecary is here. We also carry nettle topically. So if you want to experience nettle topically, then make sure you head over to the apothecary and get some of our tinctures, because they're there. It widely reduces inflammation and the microflora being imbalanced on the scalp and within the gut. It will balance it 100%. Nettle is one of my favorite herbs for scalp for scalp care and balance, and making sure that the scalp's microflora is set in a healthy environment. And lastly, horsetail, of course, rich in silica. It supports cuticle integrity, which, as we know, is extremely important. A better cuticle condition means way more stability during the combing and detangling and styling process. I am in love with the combination. This is the herbal infusion that lives within Simple Satin, and of course we can't live without rosemary as an essential oil. There is no water within this product. It is a herbal infused oil that has been infusing for a very long time. So I really hope that this video, I really hope that that breakdown made sense. Leave me some comments below and let me know what your favorite herb is inside of Simple Satin, and let me know if you're gonna try it. So before we go, really quick, I read this comment a couple of days ago from somebody within the 7-day challenge, right? And I didn't know that she was inside of the 7-day challenge. This isn't promo for the 7-day challenge. I just want us to have this conversation. Look.
Thank you, Sandal. I have been a subscriber for years now, but chose not to listen. Recently, I have been binge watching your videos and know the hard way. You have been speaking nothing but the truth. I was a wash and go girly, and at one time, my hair seemed so full and beautiful. However, I have noticed over years that my hair has slowly thinned out. I went to a dermatologist and she asked me what products I use and how often I wash my hair. Although I wash my hair weekly, she remarked after examining my scalp that I use too many products because she could see the buildup on my scalp, causing inflammation and hair loss. I immediately thought of you and all the things that you've been warning us about. As you famously say, everything works until it works no more, is nothing but the truth when it comes to wash and goes, because it's just about when or a matter of time. For me, it was 2 years before getting to this point. I have recently joined your 7-day hair growth challenge to learn how to properly care for my hair. Sadly, you are right. We have become so brainwashed that common sense for caring for our hair has completely evaded us. I have learned from you that there is nothing difficult to caring for our hair if we want growth. We just have to change our mindset. I just want to say thank you for not folding on us and for your hard work and dedication. I trust in you wholeheartedly. You are amazing. May God continue to bless you and use you as an instrument for good works. This is the thing. I love you guys to the moon and back, and I'll never stop saying the things that I say, because regardless of what the naysayers have been saying about me for years, winter and weathering is here.
So if your hair looks moisturized but still feels extremely dry, or if moisture never seems to last, you're not dealing with a dryness problem. Most likely you and your hair are dehydrated. Your ends are always giving you the truth. So start calming your scalp, and then learn how your routines, products, and tension are going to affect the cycles that your body has put in place for you to have long, thick, and healthy hair. Or maybe you don't want your hair long. Maybe you want it short and thick like mine. But oh, and I'm short and thick for real, like in my. Start by calming the scalp, and then learn how cycles and tension affect length. That's why the 7-day reset and the growth cycle blueprint work the way that they do. This is why they're structured the way that they are. Because listen, education before a real life intervention always works. If you need a little bit more clarity, make sure you check my blog post for the full list of peer-reviewed studies. I love you guys so much, and until our next video, bye.